Council is 7 o'clock. I officially call this meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, up next on the agenda, we have roll call.
Carson is here.
Counselor Daniel.
Counselor Daniel is present.
Okay, all counselors present, and Counselor Hensley previously requested to be excused.
Okay,
And the reason is not excused. I don't think she requested to be excused. It's a vacation, so it doesn't qualify as excused. Sorry.
Okay.
She is absent.
thank you. The images on the Zoom screen, can you clear that to where we can see their faces, if you don't mind? Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay. Up next, we have the agenda approval. Councilor Vihil.
Mayor, I move that we approve the agenda with Ms. Hensley's absence on the record.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Please start voting.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes.
Counselor Carson,
Yes.
the motion carried unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Up next on the agenda, we have citizen comments. This is the segment of the agenda where if we have anyone who would like to make comments, come up to the podium. We ask that you keep your comments to within 3 minutes. Our city attorney has a clock over there. If you're still talking within that 3-minute time mark, I will politely ask you to end the conversation at that particular time. We have Luke with the Valley Courier.
Hi, thanks for having me. I just wanted to come and introduce myself. I'm the new editor of the Valley Courier. Read your names and heard about the council, but I wanted to put some faces to those names and put my face to my name and just say hello and answer any questions that you might have for me.
I also just want to share, I think Luke's been really busy. There's a lot of news to cover across the valley, but I've appreciated him coming and meeting with me and other staff, connecting faces to names and all of that. And so I know they've been keeping you pretty busy.
Oh, yeah. Never a dull moment.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right,
All right.
cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. That brings us to the next item on the agenda, ceremonial items. The introduction of our new law enforcement personnel. Chief, I'm quite sure that's going to be you.
And I hate to interrupt, Mayor, but I note there are 2 attendees on Zoom. I don't know if they had any audience comments. I don't know who that, can't see there.
Okay, thank you, Mrs.
There we
Sweezel.
go. Yeah, I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, but just in case, I'll ask any of the Zoom participants, if you have any comments, please raise your hand at this particular time. There should be a raise your hand feature at the bottom, and we'll recognize you if you have any comments. If you don't raise your hand, we'll go ahead and move on with the meeting. Okay, I don't see any hands raised, so we'll go ahead and close down the citizen comment. Closer, okay. All right, is that better? All right, thank you. All right, Chief.
All right, Mr. Mayor, City Council, thank you for having me tonight. It's a pleasure to come in front of you every time we introduce new employees, new officers, and tonight we have 3 officers, 1 community service officer, and our newest position that I'll get to here in just 1 second. So the first I'm going to introduce is our new officer, Kolton Hillis. Kolton was born and raised here in Alamosa. He wanted me to explain all the schools he went to. So I actually, I'll just tell you, he went to every school here in Alamosa, basically. He graduated from Alamosa High School, attended Adams State University, and graduated there as well. in 2022 with a bachelor's degree in sociology with an emphasis in criminology. Kolton joined the TSC Police Academy in his senior year of college and also graduated in May of 2022. Kolton actually did both of these at the same time, so he had a pretty heavy workload. We're proud to have him on board. I'm going to bring these new employees up one at a time so they can introduce themselves. Kolton, come on up.
Mayor, City Council, thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity to be working for City of Alamosa. Born and raised here, so I'm happy to be able to serve the community that I grew up in. So I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Chief, and thank you all the administration and other officers. So thank you guys for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next police officer that I'm here to introduce is going to be Tina DeSanti. Come on up over here. So Tina was born and raised in Wattle, Arizona. She graduated from Grand Canyon University in 2020 with a bachelor's in business, and she has a teaching certificate. She was an explorer with the Surprise Police Department in Arizona for 5 years. She's always wanted to be in law enforcement because of her mother, who has been an officer and now is a commander, and worked for over 28 years now for, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but for the Surprise Police Department. She moved to the Valley after coming to visit her sister, and while she was attending the Adams State Nursing Program, she fell in love with the scenery and small town life, and she's applied with us, and we want to welcome her aboard as well.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I'm just glad to be here. I love this little town, love this valley, and I can't wait to grow. You guys have any questions?
We'll have some at the end. but
Okay, perfect.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Javier Moreno is our next police officer. Javi, come on up. So Javier Moreno was born in Salinas, California, moved to Alamosa in 1995. He graduated high school at Alamosa High School, attended and graduated at Wyotech, where he received a certificate in advanced diesel technology as well. He attended the TSC Police Academy, where he graduated recently and is now post-certified, and we want to welcome him aboard as well. Javier, it's all you.
Mayor, City Council, thanks for having me. I'm just super excited and super thankful for this opportunity. I'd like to thank the police department and everybody that's just been so welcoming to me. It's an honor and a blessing to be here in this position. I get to work in the town that I love so much. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But I appreciate you guys.
Thank you and welcome.
So the next, I know this is a lot, guys, so I just thought that it would
Take
be
your time.
interesting to do this all at once.
Yeah.
But the next new employee we've got is our newest community service officer. And that's Pedro de Pedro Pablo. Pedro, come on up. So Pedro de Pedro Pablo is from Fremont, Nebraska. Pedro speaks 3 languages, English, Spanish. I'm going to try this the best I can. And Cantabal. Pedro grew up in Alamosa with both his parents who moved here from Guatemala. Pedro went to high school in Alamosa, where he graduated. He also recently completed and graduated from the TSC Police Academy. Pedro also has his associates from TSC. We're glad to welcome Pedro as well. So Pedro, it's all you, buddy.
Mayor, City Councils, Alamosa community. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for having us here. Glad to be with this department. And I grew up here basically my whole life, and I'm glad that I'm working for this community.
Thank you. Thank you and welcome.
And last but not least is our newest employee and newest position, our co-responder, Dellett. Tim, if you can come on up. So Tim Dellett was raised in Bridgewater, Virginia, located in the Shenandoah Valley. His earliest memories of the San Luis Valley were formed as a child when visiting relatives in Creed. Tim first moved to Alamosa in 1997, and his work experience includes the PALS Children's Program, Adams State University, TUCASA, and behavioral health. Tim graduated from Adams State University in 2002 and holds a master's degree in counseling. Tim is married and has two boys, Ira and Ellis, and we are very excited to introduce Tim to our family as well. Tim, it's all you.
Thank you, Chief Anderson, Mayor, City Council, fellow Friends of the Library member. It's good to be here. I'm proud to be a new member of the Alamosa Police Department and proud to be a member of this community. So yeah, this is my 4th week and I look forward to the coming months and years. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome.
And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay,
So,
Chief,
it's all
so
you.
what we're gonna do is I'm gonna open it up for council to make comments. Since we have 2 council members that are on Zoom, I'm going to start off with our Zoom council members first, and then we'll come down to the council members here, and then I'll wrap everything up. Councilor Carson?
I just want to tell all of you, thank you for joining the team. Good luck and be safe. We look forward to having you guys protect and serve our community. And congratulations and good luck to the co-responder as well. That is a much needed position. And it's going to be interesting. We'll be looking forward to some of that data. Good luck, guys, and thank you. And ma'am, sorry about that.
Thank you, Councilor Carson. Councilor Daniel?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I am so excited about all of your energy and the things that you're going to bring to our community and to the force. Thank you for your commitment to serve. We will be much better off with you here. I have had some chance to spend a little bit of time with Tim, and I'm really excited about what he's going to bring in this new position. So again, thank you all to joining us, and we are really excited. You are all part of the team.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Daniel, Councilor Vigil, and Councilor Griego, and Councilor Cribb.
Thank you, Mayor.
Welcome.
Chief, kudos to you and your staff. Everybody, welcome. It's great to see homegrown folks. I want to highlight the TSC cadet program that just keeps turning them out. It's good to see a former student of mine and ball player back there who I think is in that class over there, Ashley. And then the co-responder thing is going to be great. It's a need. I'm glad that you're doing that. And then I want to highlight Pedro, I think maybe one of the first Guatemalan people on the force. In my time here, I think that's phenomenal. And we have a Guatemalan contingent here in Alamosa, and it's good to see them represented here too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Vigil, Councilor Griego.
Thank you, Mayor.
Welcome.
I just want to welcome everybody. Chief, boy, you've got some educated young people here. You know, they're with all these degrees and stuff. For the Spanish surname, guys, do you speak Spanish? Javier, tú hablas en español, comprendes? Yo sé que Pedro sí habla bien, papable. So, but it's good to have that mixture. And, you know, when we have a community of Hispanics, it's almost 50%. So it's good to have that, you know. And one thing I wanted to bring up, and I've been here, I've seen a lot of officers. I've been here 39 years. And one thing that, you know, we try to get this rapport with the community. And now that I see that we've got a bunch of guys here, one thing that we've tried to install, and I've seen it, and I've talked to the chief about it, is that when you're going down the street, we wave, and you guys just like, nobody waves, you know? So are you guys really paying attention to what's going on out there? But I know one of the former chiefs wanted to install something where, and I know Highway Patrol, if you wave with the Highway Patrol, they wave right back at you. So that only tells you that they are watching and stuff. So I think that's something that we need to install into our officers to get that rapport with the community. and to start working with the community. But you got a lot of different people. I think you only got about 3 or 4 that have been here, you know, a long time, and it's, we got a whole new force, and welcome to everybody. So thank you.
Thank you, Council Corrigo. Council Cripps,
Thank you, Mayor.
welcome.
First of all, welcome. I am in awe of people in today's time that make the conscious decision to stand up and serve in what can be seen as not such a great job profession. But you answered that call, and I can see by the smiles on your face that you don't regret a second of it. And so I am so excited to welcome you there and just to watch your growth in the police force and watch what you can do to serve the community and just have you here as a member, and just welcome to Alamosa, you know, and well, not you, you grew up here, you're good, but the rest of you, welcome. And you made this place your choice to live and to serve others. And I couldn't be more proud of all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Council Cripps. And I'll wrap things up, Chief. Thank you so much for your recruiting efforts and the team efforts that you have to bring on this diverse group. I'm very proud to see the diversity in our law enforcement department, and also to see all of the people who come to support, and more importantly, the family members who came here to support you all as well. You're joining a great team here in Alamosa, and we're glad to have you as a part of the team. I know Kolton Hillis coached him in football, and he was amazing, superstar football player. And I also remember Tim when he worked with the PALS group, very patient young man who knows how to deal with all kind of stressful type of situations. So I've experienced that with him. So I'm really proud of the team that we have. And mentioning the word team, I always like to use the acronym TEAM, stands for Together Everyone Achieves More. So welcome to our team, and we're looking forward to achieving a lot together. Thank you all so much. Thank you. I do it still. Thank you all so very much. All right, Council. Thank you all so very much for showing up tonight. All right, before we go a little bit further, we recognize that we have one of our county commissioners in the audience, Commissioner Vern Hersing. We always like to acknowledge our elected officials. Thank you so very much for joining us tonight. Okay, that brings us to the next item on the agenda is consent calendar A. Councilor Vihil.
Mayor, I move that we approve consent calendar A.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, start voting.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes.
Counselor Carson,
Yes.
the motion carried unanimously.
All right, thank you. All right, that brings us up to the next item on the agenda, board, commissions, business advisory board appointments. Ms. Martinez, you brought up something in between the break. Could you share with council real quick in regards to the library board situation?
I did. So right before 5, I did receive another application for the library board. Currently you only have 2 vacancies, so you've interviewed 2 applicants already. So I kind of want direction on what you want to do with the new application that just came in. Do you want to interview them and then appoint the library board members at a future meeting? Do you want to appoint who you've already interviewed and have me tell the new applicant it's already filled? It's up to you, but it did come in before you're doing your vote. So I need a
Okay.
little bit of direction, what you want to do.
Okay, we'll open it up for discussion. Counselor Krebs?
I'm just looking for clarification, Holly. When I stepped away as a member myself, did that open a 3rd spot?
No, that opened the 2nd spot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Counselor Vihil?
Did this person miss the deadline?
So there was no deadline. These applications, so we do the annual recruitment, which does have a deadline, and you appoint in June. And then throughout the year, we just accept applications randomly. It's open year round. If we have vacancies, they can apply.
Well, then I would say let's schedule this other interview, and if we can find someone even better to serve, not that, but it's always good to see what's out there. I would say let's schedule the interview and then do a vote on that at the next meeting.
Okay. We have a consensus on that or any other comments? Counselor Daniel or Counselor Carson? No
I
comment?
agree.
Okay. Looks like
Okay.
we have a consensus on that.
Okay,
Okay.
so I put your ballots in front of you, so just ignore the library board ballot then. And for your agenda tonight, then you do have, actually, you don't have a library
No,
board
we don't
ballot
have a
there
library
because
board
there was
ballot.
2 vacancies, never mind. So keep your ballots there. You do have to vote on 2. Oh, so we had quite a few applications come in, so you interviewed 6 people, I believe it's 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. To various boards. So we have the Alamosa Housing Authority, Homeless Coalition, Library Board, Main Street Advisory Committee, and Personnel Board, which people have applied for. The ones that need a vote are going to be your Personnel Board, because there's only 1 vacancy, and the Alamosa Housing Authority, as there's only 1 vacancy on that one. The other ones, there's enough vacancies to just appoint if you choose, which is recommended to do if you see the alternatives. So when you do vote, if you just do not vote for the library board, and we'll bring that before you at a future meeting.
Okay, Counselor Griego has a question.
I had a question, on the
Yes.
personnel board, who else is on there?
Who are the other 2 that serve on
Yeah.
that board? Ralph, I don't really know how to say his last name, Simblane, Simblem, and Kendra Lambert.
Oh, okay. For some reason I thought there was 2 openings, but there's just, okay,
There's just
thank
one.
you.
And then we have Counselor Daniel has her hand raised on Zoom.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Holly, how do you want Counselor Carson and I to vote?
Can you text me or email me?
So I can, I have to abstain from 2 of them, though. The Main Street Advisory Committee and the Personnel Board, I need to abstain from.
Okay.
Okay.
And the reason for that abstention?
One of the applicants is my supervisor.
The only reason I ask is council does have a policy that you are required to vote on every issue coming up unless you have a conflict, and that certainly constitutes a conflict.
Thank you, Eric.
So Counselor Griego has, but we don't have a Main Street advisory ballot here.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question, Mayor. How do
Yeah.
we vote on these other, board members? Do we
So-
just, since they're not being opposed to, we just,
What you've done before is for those positions for which you have no more applicants than you have slots, one of you could make a motion to appoint all of the applicants to their respective positions and just take care of that one that way.
But you don't have to. You really should probably vote. Because if you don't feel like they're a fit for that board, you can leave it vacant. You don't have to appoint them.
Exactly, because I do believe there has been a recent vacancy and there was only one applicant, but you didn't feel it was the best fit. And so you indicated to leave it open. So I do think you should probably do each one. So it's clear.
So since we don't have that ballot, can we put that on the next meeting ballot?
Or you can just do a voice
Could
vote.
do.
Yeah, well, you could accomplish the same thing by a voice vote with a motion like the one that I just suggested. And if you, as a counselor, think that one of those applicants is not a good fit, you would vote no. But and then we would have to figure out which one it was for that you didn't think that was a good fit, I guess.
Or could they not just say Main Street, we vote to appoint Janie Arnaldi?
Yep, they could do that.
Okay, they
If they're
could go
comfortable doing that.
individually. To
The,
make
the
it
only
simple.
issue is, if, it becomes, it's a matter of public record either way.
Yeah.
But when you do it as a voice vote, it's an immediate matter of public record. That's the only issue.
Okay, so how about we start off with that one first, since we don't have a ballot? We'll start off with someone go ahead,
I'll
Council.
make the motion, Mayor. So I move that we appoint to the Homeless Coalition, Trina D. Herrera, and to the Main Street Advisory Committee, Jana Arnaldi.
Council Crib,
I second.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I see one hand raised. Looks like it's Counselor Daniel. Or you're abstaining, right?
Well, yes, I can vote on the one, but I'm okay abstaining from
Okay.
this vote.
Okay. All right, so personal votes. I'll vote yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Counselor Carson,
Yes.
and Counselor Daniel, you abstain.
Abstaining.
Okay,
The motion carried unanimously with Counselor Daniel abstaining from the vote.
thank you. All right, as far as the other ballots, we have them here. Okay, we're good? Everybody's good? Yep. I got yours ready. Oh. Okay. Then Counselor Daniel and Counselor Carson, I believe they're going to be texting or either emailing.
I just sent mine, Holly.
Okay, after the votes have come in, you have appointed Lisa Lucero for the Housing Authority and Judy Egbert for the Personnel Board. So if I can have a motion for that.
Counselor Vio,
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we appoint Lisa Lucero to the Alamosa Housing Authority and Judy Egbert to the Personnel Board.
I second.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Nope. Let's go ahead and start voting.
Counselor Carson,
Yes.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes.
the motion carried unanimously.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all under that item. That brings us to the next item on the agenda. Business brought forward by our city staff.
There isn't anything under C that's different than staff announcements. So the only item I was going to mention before you do committee reports is you could move the liquor licensing item up before we do committee reports and staff announcements if you want to. So we can address that business.
Okay, Counselor Vio.
So I need a motion. We can move it up the agenda or?
Yeah, that would be cleanest.
So I move that we move, I move that, I move that we move the liquor licensing authority action up after
Business brought forward by
business
city.
brought forward by city staff.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Please start voting.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes.
Counselor Carson,
Yes.
the motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and cover the liquor licensing item. We'll start off with city attorney.
Yes, so this is probably the best teaching method for what you just went through with your liquor license authority training is now to apply it in real life. And what you have before you is a proposed stipulation for resolution of a compliance check violation that occurred on July 14th. As I think I mentioned to you earlier, this was at the Thai Hut where the server, who happened to be the brother of the owner, served an underage person. He was in front of the municipal court for that ordinance violation and did not contest the violation, and there was a $500 fine assessed. Then in parallel is the action that's now in front of you, which is with respect to the Thai Hut LLC, which is the owner of the business, to deal with the license implications of that. And Holly and I met with, I'll just call her Siri, since that's the easiest way for me to pronounce the name, who is here in the audience. And if you want to come up, we'll deal with this. So Holly and I met with Siri in the context of seeing whether there was a resolution that could be had by way of stipulation to present to council. I went through the ordinance that we just discussed in your training that sets out the matrix of recommended ranges for penalties for violations. This is the first violation under this license. And as I set out in the report, there are both the ordinance itself and then also the parallel state liquor regulation set out aggravating and mitigating circumstances to consider when you are looking at the appropriate sanctions for a violation. And there were all but two of the mitigating circumstances were present. One aggravating circumstance was present, and that aggravating circumstance was that the Thai Hut does not have, at the time of this violation, a formal training program. And Siri can talk to that, but the reason that they don't is they don't really have any employees who are around long enough to be able to get any value out of that program, given the current labor market. So the proposed stipulation contains both a written warning, and the purpose for that written warning is it is an acknowledgement on behalf of the license holder that this violation did occur. It would be an aggravating factor were there a subsequent violation under your matrix. It would bump it into a different category of recommended sanctions. There is also a suspension of 5 days, and that suspension would be held in abeyance for a year for 364 days, pending no further violations. And if the year goes by with no further violations, then the suspension is not served. If there is a violation, then the suspension for 5 days would kick in. At that point, Thai Hut would have the option of doing a fine in lieu of suspension, but that is a bridge that does not need to be crossed unless we get there, which hopefully we would not. So that's what I had. And I think it would be helpful for council to hear from Siri. I believe you have agreed to that stipulation, but just to make that clear for council, and then you may want to explain the situation with server training.
Okay. So at that time, my brothers from Canada just come to visit me just for a week. So at that time, I'm still training like one of our staff to be a server. And then he was busy with the customer. So one gentleman walked in and he said he gonna sit down and eat. He waiting for his girlfriend. So my brother like saw the server was busy. So he's tried to, jump in and help. So he sit the customer and the gentleman asked like if he can order a beer. So my brother ID him, but he didn't realize because he didn't go to proper training because he doesn't work with me. He just come to visit. So he ID him, but he's over 19 because in Canada, like the person above 19 can drink, beer or liquor or whatever. So he just like served him a beer and like less than 2 minutes later, the gentleman walked out and the police came and asking for me, which I was cooking in the kitchen because I'm short of staff at that time. So they asked for information. So I gave him information and then they scheduled my brother to come for the hearing or whatever, and I came to pay fine and everything. So he admitted that he served the beer to the minor and everything. And the reason I don't have proper training because I don't have any staff at all. I put all the side out. I put the ad, looking for help, but like I got like temporary worker. They come work for 2 weeks after they get paid. They gone. They left. They be in jail. They violate the probation, whatever. So it's very hard to find good help around here. So I don't really have like proper training for like the other staff. So I usually like most of the time I'm gonna be upfront, but during this time since my family like is gone for Thailand for a couple months, so I don't have any like people cook in the kitchen. So I have to jump in the kitchen and cook. So I train a new staff. That's why, it's that's why we don't have like a proper training for the restaurant.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is open it up for council to make some comments or ask questions. If that's okay with our attorney. Okay, go ahead, Councilor Grego.
I had one. So you're saying the person was ID'd
Yes, he did.
and he showed that he was only 19 years old?
I don't know exact age, but my brother told me because he's gone now. He said like he's over 19. That's why, yeah.
So now you're aware that you have to be over 21.
Here,
order-
but in Canada it's different. That's why I have mentioned that he didn't get trained from me because he didn't realize it's gonna be over 21.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see any other comments or any hands raised. So we'll turn it back over to you, Mr.
We don't need
Sweet.
anything from me. I guess we're looking for a motion then at this point as to whether to accept the stipulation or not.
Okay, Councilor Grego.
I think it's a real fair stipulation, and I think she's aware of where she went wrong. And I could understand where, the employees part of it, people are gone, coming in, gone, coming in. So basically, when you do get a stable group there, maybe you could have your training and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll make the motion that we approve the stipulation brought forward by our city attorney.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, Councilor Krebs?
I just want to say Thai Hut has been a presence in our downtown for years now. And hearing from the attorney that this is their first violation and hearing that you have made every attempt to train your staff. I feel it. I feel you about that. I just urge you to, moving forward, try to instill some of that training at like day one with them, just to cross those T's and dot those I's in your world to make sure that it doesn't happen again. But no, I totally understand where you're coming from with this. And if I could third the motion, I would.
You don't have to third it, but,
Mayor, that having been said, I want to just make one point. This is the first violation under this liquor license. Thai Hut had a different liquor license when it was in a different location. Anyway, there was a whole bunch of machinations that went on with the various Thai restaurants in town. So this is a new liquor license. It's not the same license that Thai Hut has had. And I think there may have been a violation in the past under the old license, just to be clear.
okay. So we have a motion, we have a second, no further discussion from our Zoom council members. So we'll go ahead and start voting, please.
Counselor Carson,
Yes.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes, sorry.
the motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a
Thank
good
you so
night.
much.
Thank you. Okay. That brings us to the next item on our agenda. Committee reports. I'm sorry, staff. Yeah, committee reports. Council Grego.
I'll go ahead and start. I went to a senior citizens meeting. They presented, they had a really good turnout for the early iron. There's about 240 people that ate that early breakfast with them. They're going to have a bazaar and a silent auction on December the 10th. And they're looking for people to donate silent auction items. I also brought some raffle tickets. So I said council will probably buy some of these and help the senior citizens to raise money. But it was a pretty short meeting. And like I said, they're trying to do as much as possible to raise money and keep going. So that should be. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Council Grego. Okay, Councilor Daniel.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two. I attended the lead policy committee meeting earlier this week. The introduction of Tim Dellett as the co-responder and a new lead case manager, Christopher, were both introduced. So there's a lot of movement in that program. The lead program has now is going to start accepting referrals again. They had to slow it down for a while with their transition in staff. And so now they're going to be able to take that many more referrals. And we also learned that the co-responder will be getting training up in Evans coming up, I believe it's next week. And so that is going to be, I think, a really good kind of cap to his first month. The other thing that is happening is the Center for Restorative Programs is bringing the sequential intercept mapping model down, and there will be a big community activity and community conversation about where the mental health system and people who are engaged in the mental health system and the criminal justice system, all of the places those folks interact and where they cross. And so we can figure out ways to assist, hopefully earlier on, to have fewer people go further into the criminal justice system. So the sequential intercepting mapping process was done probably about 8 or 10 years ago. I feel like I'm getting old because I was part of that one. So we did that one a while ago, and then to redo it and make sure all of the current resources are up to date. I think it will be a really good process for the community. The second committee that I attended was the tree board. They are just honestly just a fun group to be with. So they are looking at getting ready to write their next grant and do the Excel program, and really looking at what makes the most sense. We talked a little bit about different concerns people have brought to the attention of members of the tree board with certain trees around the city and how to manage those, and also they're brainstorming some ways to potentially use the money that is set aside in the budget. So the paying half for a tree and the city pays half for a tree. Could we maybe do some other things to help encourage either taking care of the trees that they already have or moving trees that are a challenge, different things like that they're just brainstorming. There's nothing in the works yet, but they're an active and committed group, and it was a fun, informative meeting.
And Counselor Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think during our lead policy meeting, Carrie also shared that they finished up their state reporting
Yes.
process and that Alamosa is really being kind of the focal point
Yes.
on the cover type of situation because of the successes that the lead program has seen. And so I think that's really important to share as well.
Yes, thank you, Heather. I apologize for neglecting to say that. And people look to us as one of the leading organizations in trying to figure out what to do next. So yes, that's super. Thank you, Heather.
Okay. We don't have any other, well, Counselor Carson has his hand raised. Go ahead, Counselor Carson.
Yes, I just wanted to add on to Counselor Griego's committee report. Counselor Griego, if I was there, I just want you to know that I would probably buy a whole book of raffles. So I'm just letting you know that, you should encourage the rest of council to buy as many as possible.
Okay, Counselor Carson, I will locate you and take you a book.
That works, sir. You have a good evening. Thank you.
We take debit cards. All right. Okay. All righty. So that's gonna bring us to our staff announcements.
Thank you, Mayor. As,
You're welcome.
as the chief makes his way up, I do believe Holly has a quick update on Municode as well.
So the state liquor code updated a lot of their numbering, the references to regulations in the code this past year. And so our Muni code reference for the ordinance is a little outdated. Usually we bring an ordinance before you to change that, but Muni code did say that we can do it and just reference the number. So we'll be sending in those references and updating our code.
Thank you.
Okay, Chief.
Okay. So really the only announcement that I've got is just a quick update as far as the Monday incident from the Alamosa High School. As everybody's aware, we received a call of a potential active shooter in the building. So if you have questions on this, I just want to kind of warn you all that it's under investigation. Obviously, we're working with outside agencies. We're working with federal agencies as well. Anyway, the incident, you all train us, you send us to trainings. There's a reason for that. And I can't stand up here and take credit for how the guys and gals responded to this. I was there, but my job now is a little different than being an initial responder. But I can tell you that your department is very dedicated and did a fantastic job. Any critical incident like this, we always take a little bit from it that we have to learn. Nothing's ever perfect. There are a few kinks along the way that we have to kind of mend out and figure out what we're going to do to make things better in the future. A lot of kids were traumatized from this. A lot of teachers, staff at the school were traumatized by this. I have no idea. I don't know if I can even say this, but I'm going to, how a sick individual can make a false report of something like this. But you know what? It's not going to change our response. It's not going to change how we act, how we do things. We're going to do what we do. And I think that this department is above standard. I've seen a lot of other agencies, and I'm not just saying that because I work for this agency. I used to instruct this course of active shooter instructions for probably 10 years. And then I started promoting, and it just doesn't follow me where it goes. You have to give that to kind of the younger guns to train. And, we do this twice a year. It's now something it's not mandated yet. I kind of see that it will be eventually, but we do it twice a year. We train all of our officers. It's part of our pre-FTO program, which is our field training program. And it's also part of our yearly trainings. Trying to give you guys everything that I can. Really, all I can say is it was a phenomenal response. We were there, we meaning the police officers. I was actually in a meeting when this occurred. But I could tell you that the response was within 1 minute. 1 minute's pretty decent when you have an active threat going on. So they searched every classroom, they searched every bathroom, they searched every closet. Every part of the building was searched, and the school is big. I want to give a thanks to other agencies. We had a lot of really good response from outside agencies. I can't name them all right now, but I'll tell you it's from every which way in the San Luis Valley. So the collaboration between agencies to help is fantastic. So we do the same thing for any other community. I really appreciate what they've done for us. Am I missing anything here?
And I think obviously there's a lot of ongoing discussions with the school district and, you know, and as the chief indicated, to use this to make sure we've got it as tight as possible. And if there's ways, either us, the school district or other agencies, you know, how we can improve upon anything, but it was still a very good response. But you're having a lot of meetings with the school district too, and trying to make sure they feel safe as well.
We are. And just before I'm done here, I do want to kind of give a shout out to Andy Lavier, the principal over there. He has been really great to work with. You know, the guy's open-minded. He understands what we need for us to make that response. And like Heather said, we do need to discuss a few things with the school. We don't set their policies and procedures. All I can do is I can give them, you know, a little guidance and some suggestions. But they've been very open to working with us. So the school district overall has been fantastic, but they're no different than us. You know, we have to see ways that we can get better. Nothing's perfect. And they're going to be exactly the same way. We just have to work together. And I think we're showing that we do that. And just to point one more thing out, so I'm not going to talk to you guys too long about this. You know, it's kind of interesting. Heather and I were talking about, you know, drills that we grew up with. I mean, I'm originally from California. I grew up with earthquake drills. We did these. These active shooter drills were not something that I was used to. The kids nowadays, though, are going to have to start getting used to that. It's something that's necessary. It's unfortunate that these events occur, but that's why you guys have a police department within your town. So,
And I just, you know, I think as a small town, you know, we saw some businesses where the employees just left, you know, because the parents and things like that. So it rippled through a lot of areas. And so that's why we just wanted to have the chief here in case there's any questions that you might have.
Okay, Chief, I'm gonna open it up to council because I know quite a few, everybody at least want to make a comment, okay? Council Griego,
Thank you, Mayor.
you're welcome.
Chief, I was approached by several parents, and I know we don't speak for the school board, or the school district. And they were asking, is there anybody gonna come out and say exactly what happened? Yeah, have a meeting with all the parents and stuff and see what's going on. And I told them I would bring it up to council tonight to see. And I said, well, if that happens, I'm sure our chief would be there to ask, you know, if you had questions, stuff. But I don't know, like you said, it's still under investigation. And I don't know if the school board is gonna have a meeting and inform all the parents, because there was a lot of traumatized parents out there.
sure.
And to see if they're gonna, what happened, what are the protocols afterwards and so forth, so.
Right. So like I said, that I can only answer so much. The best I can tell you is city staff did provide a media release on this. It really has, it's got the facts that we can release at this point. Because of this being an active investigation, there's not anything further at this point that I can release. Maybe at a later date. Right now I can't though.
I'm not sure if we know of any plans that the school district has to have a meeting with parents to review what was done, where to improve. I don't know if the school district has any plans for that, which I think is kind of what you were asking. Yeah.
I don't know if they do or not. I know Andy's reached out to me. He wants to set up a debrief and we will do that. But that's going to be more for school staff and for law enforcement. I don't believe that's going to be open to the public.
Okay, before I go to Zoom, do you two have any comments or questions or anything? Council Crab?
Just a few observations. Where I work is, you know, the hospital, it's very much, it locked down quick as well. And we had some panicked parents that left. But I want to commend you and your staff for the speed of which you arrived there, the professionalism under, we talk about it and you mentioned it, you trained for it, but when it actually happens, you have to tamp down quite a lot to get there and do what you think you have to do. And so looking over the press releases that went out, I see that the city and the police department tried to keep up as much communication as possible to the public. And the comments that were left on those in like a Facebook type social media were for the most part, what I could see, very positive, the very thank yous. And I truly believe that those were heartfelt from the parents. So I want to thank you and your staff for your quick response and your professionalism in what must have been one of the most stressful times. And I'm happy. It sounds weird that it was a hoax. I really am. And if you can use that opportunity to train your staff further and become even better at what you do, then I think that's great. But I commend you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
To add just a
Thank you,
little bit to that, the professionalism, I mean, that's got to be one of the worst calls to get, is to think there's an active shooter in the school. But a lot of these officers, including the chief, were responding knowing they've got kids as well. And so I think we sometimes forget that human side of our officers. And so it just adds a whole nother layer of what it takes to do the job.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna go ahead and go to the Zoom, and we'll go with Counselor Daniel.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Chief, thank you. Thank you so much to you and your team. I've heard nothing but positive things about how it was handled. And so I really appreciate all of that work. Not to repeat too many things anyway that Councilor Krebs said, but we also had to have a lockout at our facilities in Valleywide, and that message came very quickly. The communication was very quick to like helping get people calmed down. I think the one question I have is, and maybe this will come out later as we talk, we had a lot of parents, obviously because they were scared, and I do think traumatized is the right word, but go to the school. And so I didn't know if I heard it got really congested. I didn't go. I had to stay where I was. I wouldn't have gone anyway, but I had to stay where I was. But I heard it got very congested on the streets, very hard to get there. Are there things that we can do as community organizations to help manage some of that, or tell people to go to a certain place for where it would be, like where they would get announcements rather than going straight to the school? Because I don't know, in my opinion, that wouldn't be the place we would want a crap ton of parents to go. So are there things we can do as a community to support a different kind of response?
So the response, I would say no. As far as, so let me kind of explain this part. You all know that this happened at several schools within Colorado and Texas. So I looked into it, kind of what schools were involved and how they responded. I can tell you that the Denver school went a step above what we did. They actually did the entry, the clearance of the building, but they also did the evacuation. We didn't do that, okay? So that's something that I need to plan out for the future. I think I've got that kind of planned out on where we would do this, and then, you know, where the communication comes from. A lot of this kind of situation really does fall on my shoulders. As far as the community, the parents that were on scene, I understand they're stressed, but I can honestly tell you that they kept a good distance to where they really didn't interfere with us. And I tried to work with them as best I could. You all pay for us to have loudspeakers in our police cars, things like that. I basically drove up on the lawn and I spoke to the parents just to put them at ease that this is a bogus call. It's what we call swatting. It's been around for years. It's just to get a rise and see a bunch of law enforcement agencies send all of their resources to a bogus situation. I don't know why that's something that's being done, but it's being done, and we need to find a way of dealing with it. Like I said before, though, it's not gonna change our response. And there's a ton of things, ma'am, that we need to look at to, I guess, clarify how we're gonna do certain things. With these other agencies that respond, when they respond to a situation, at least here, a critical incident, I think they all know that I'm probably gonna give them assignments when I get there. It's not just standing around. So I am gonna find something for them to be useful at. And you know, it was a great collaboration, like I've already told you all. But yeah, the crowd did really nothing other than just worry. We had an issue with a helicopter flying above. I think I put an end to that as soon as I saw what was going on. But I don't think that helped either. So it's a situation that we don't want to happen, but I think we have to plan for it because it's happening in, all over the world, not just Colorado.
And I think that's probably a key part for continued discussions with the school district, because while you brought it up as, is there's things as a community partner you can do, I think we need to start with discussions with the school district, and that if we're going to do drills, which I guess that is a way of life that we're accepting now, that there probably has to be not drills, but information that's also going out to parents in regards to, in this type of situation, don't do this, but this is what you do. And if there is going to be an evacuation, here's where the evacuation will be, if that's safe, depending on the situation, type of thing. And so I think that discussion with the school, because that's obviously the most critical partner in regards to helping parents know. But I also know as a parent in the school district, they communicate, and so it's only as good as the people listening, because a lot of times parents are overwhelmed and things, and you don't think it's going to happen and stuff like that. So it's probably something for some continued discussions, especially starting with the school district and the police department, working with them. And then maybe we can filter out to major employers after that. But it's probably a key discussion to have.
Okay. And I don't see Council Carson's hand raised. So Council Carson, I'm assuming you don't have any comments, so I'll go ahead and wrap things up. Chief, I just have one question for you. Is there one or two things you could share with the community that would be a benefit to help the PD in the future if an incident like this happened?
I'm looking at my boss. To help the community,
That will,
as far as
to
like,
share with the community that would be beneficial
I think
for the safety of the PD.
if I was going to, tell me if I'm off base, I think what made things worse is when the rumors started happening. And so I think, people trying to be emotionally aware that this is a highly sensitive situation. And unless they know something for sure, putting stuff out on social media or spreading things that they do not know for sure is not helpful, and only creates more chaos. And then I think, what I would offer is rushing to the school is probably not going to get what they think they need. And as I was listening to the chatter on the radio, it was pulling resources to have to start doing a perimeter versus what those resources could be doing. And so, yes, it wasn't real. But if it was real, you're pulling resources to have to do crowd management versus being a part of the response. Would those be two things maybe to get out to the community?
Yeah, no, I think you did really good there, Heather. The social media thing. So just so whoever's listening, as long as they understand this as well, I have to work with our PIO within the city and the city manager. And I try to get this information out as soon as possible so that they can also respond and put something out to the public so they understand what's going on. But sometimes it takes a while. We start getting these social media posts, and it does make our life a little harder to control some kind of chaotic scenes. So that's something that, I don't know, just trust us. I think the community trusts the city that, what we're reporting, I'm not going to lie to the community. Like I said, when I spoke to him on the scene from my patrol car, I was there to let them know what's going on. I'm not going to make things up. So the city's doing the same thing. Heather trusts them in my decision-making. They put the post out within a couple minutes after I talked to him. One thing with it, this is not really affecting my agency, but I do know from State Patrol, which is our dispatch, State Patrol received hundreds of calls. And there are times when they only have 3 dispatchers on. And just one of the stories that I was told is concerning to me. I was told that there was an individual that called saying the police are not responding, they're not going in, which was not true. So they wanted to take it upon themselves, get their rifles and go do it themselves. Bad idea, okay? So we meet force with force. That's the way we train, that's the way we work. It's unfortunate, but yeah, don't try to do something on your own. So whoever's listening, that's the message that I'd say, that social media and just trust in the city. We're out to protect people.
I'm glad you covered all three of those because those are very valid and really appreciate you sharing that. And so for those people who are listening, if you're gonna share a post, make sure it's a city official post with that information versus any other individuals or any other post that's not validated. Okay, thank you so much, Chief. And the only comment I would like to say is that there was overwhelming support from the community who have reached out to all of us in some form of capacity, thanking you all for the quick response and the efforts that you all put into there. And it really made them feel confident and secure in our police department. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Council and Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mayor, I do have a few items as well as just a brief presentation that I wanted to share with council. The first one is we finished up Art Fest this last weekend. That is a city event. And so for everyone who was able to participate in any of the different activities we had, I just want to say thank you. But I also want to say thank you because with it being a city event, there's probably every single department played some type of role in putting it on. And so, you know, you've got parks with the stage and tents and tables and chairs. We've got employees that helped with the footprints and the spray painting. We've got our street crew that every year these artists who do installs across the nation talk about how good our street crew is, how professional and nice and easy to work with. It's so amazing to hear these artists talk. And it's not a surprise, but it's really great to hear. We've put up barricades for closure of streets and it's just amazing. And then of course, the art committee and Jasmine and our team with Visit Alamosa and Alma for helping us find bands. I mean, it just takes a lot of people. And so I'm glad the weekend's over because it was exhausting. So I just wanted to make note of that. We did release information related to the hiring of a new fire chief. And so I'm hoping you guys have seen that. It's sad to be saying goodbye to Chief Chapman after 39 years of service. That's just amazing. His last day will be November 4th. The first day for our new chief, Bill Stone, will be October 17th. So you see there's a few weeks of overlap there. Don really just wants to make sure the transition is as seamless as possible. It gives him a chance to go through the payroll with the new chief, just to make sure that everything is going to be carried on. And so, you know, I guess that's not a surprise when you know Don. But we're excited to be welcoming Bill Stone. He has ties to Alamosa. He wasn't just applying to apply. He kept his eyes open in case there was a job here in the Valley, specifically Alamosa, that would open up. And that's because of his time spent here as an Adams State University student. And so he's very fond of the community. Him and his wife have already bought a house, so they're committed, and he's really looking forward to moving here. We will be having a ceremony to honor Don and Assistant Chief Tony Bobicki because he's also retiring. And so we want to make sure we do right by them, and we'll have those details to share at some point. I wanted to let you know at your next budget amendment, and when you take a look at your budget, there might be a slight change. Our IT department monitors what the costs are going to be for the equipment that we're planning to order. And Intel is planning to do almost, I don't know what percentage increase on their cost in mid-October. And so what Jim realized is if we would buy next year's equipment, like the computers that were going to be rotated out and those things, if we buy them now before that October date, we can save about $20,000. So that's a pretty substantial amount. So we'll take that out of the 2023 budget and we're going to do it as a budget amendment into the 2022. So we can save that $20,000. And then the last thing I wanted to do is a presentation. I was asked by the marketing board to come to their board retreat and just do a quick presentation on what's going on with the city as it relates to tourism. And they just wanted their boards to know, hey, what are some of the current projects? What are some of the projects coming up? And we all know of these projects, but collecting it and putting it into a presentation, and you can see how dramatically things are going to start changing. I mean, I think it just took everyone by surprise. So I'm going to go faster than I did for them. But I don't know if we always take enough time to celebrate what we've actually done and what's coming up. And so, yes, I know you're probably thinking, Heather, let's hurry it up. But it's important for us to really celebrate and recognize everything that's been coming and what's happening for the community. So this doesn't include housing. This doesn't include the stuff we're doing from a public safety perspective. This is just things that would touch on tourism. And so I'm going to go quickly. And it's not moving. Okay. I need the mouse. So the first one, we've talked about Art Fest, but it's a great visual from how we're creating interest and drawing people downtown. What am I supposed to push? The right button? This one? Okay. We've got weekends on the Rio, which we've grown over the past years. It obviously has Alma as a key partner, but you got the yoga, the paddle boarding. Okay, you're just gonna have to push it. The outdoor recreation, the activation of the Rio Grande, the inputs that we've gotten, the Blanca Vista pond improvements with the jetties and the fishing, the trails master plan from going all the way from the riparian park down to the refuge. Okay. The wayfinding, which is still planned to come this year. And so this is to help tourists know that there's local dining, there's local shopping, not individual stores, but that type of thing. The next one is there's the locations. Next one. The 4th Street parking lot, that's still going to happen this year to my knowledge. And so it's going to beautify that area. We're picking up new spots. It's going to make it easier for people to park, all of that type of thing. Next one. We've got some carrots and sticks. And so we're doing more on code enforcement. So you guys know about Walsh and Monterey. The co-responder is to work with some of those individuals that might create a nuisance and try to get that resolved better. We're working on park bathroom improvements. We're looking at getting those downtown banners in 2023, a potential partnership with ASU for some twinkly lights in the downtown. We've got our Main Street Committee, and then you guys always know Kathy's out there pounding the street for the facade improvements. So there's some of those listed to get the private investment. Then next year, we've got Friday Health parking lot coming. That's going to be huge improvement with what's gravel right now. It's also going to be the future home for the farmers market. And you're going to have Friday Health's new building that's on 6th Street. Next. Then from a private development, we've got the old Oscars that's turning into the boutique hotel. We've got new restaurants, new places to drink like the Sanctuary. The old courthouse has people who are interested in doing some chattering there. We've got the Children's Museum that's out west of town. And then the downtown vacancies in and of themselves have dropped dramatically. Hunt Avenue is coming up. And so we're taking this street that takes people from Cole Park to the downtown and not enticing. And we're really going to beautify it and improve it. Next. We've got this huge pedestrian bridge that's coming to connect our trails. Next. The back 9 irrigation system is going to be repaired and will help sustain the 18-hole golf course. The levee recertification we're undertaking. And, as we do that, we'll have an eye to the impact on trails and trying to see where we can find some synergy there. Cole Park is set for replacement in 2026. I didn't go over all the streets, but I did cover the years for those streets where a visitor might see them because they're traveling on 160. So you got Victoria in 2023, La Vida in 2023, Pike Avenue in 2024, and then the design of 7th Street in Poncha. Oh, and that's the last one. See, I went fast. I will tell you, that was a 45-minute presentation.
Oh, wow. Yeah, thank you for the expedited version.
But I
Appreciate it.
just, you guys know of all of those, but sometimes we get one grant 2 years ago and and it's just not all coming together like it does in that presentation. And so I think 6th Street and Hunt and all of that beautification and everything, it's just going to be, it's amazing. It really is amazing momentum.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. I'll turn it over to council for comments. Council Griego.
So are we gonna have like this booklet, or do you already have that of all this stuff?
I can print it out.
I think it'd be nice even to put it at the library or somewhere, you know, where people could see, you know, a lot of people don't listen to our council meetings or.
So yeah, I can do that. And then just so you know, I've also been invited to do a presentation to the board for SLV Federal. And so that's not going to be, so I'm going to take this presentation, modify it because it doesn't have to be as focused on the visitors and probably add more on housing, some of the public safety efforts that we're doing. And then that could be another little kind of booklet because that will cover some of the services in addition to the ones that's covered here, but it'll cover more of the city services as well.
Okay, I don't see any other lights on or hands raised. I just have one comment. Thank you so very much for the presentation. I think it's very important that we continue to let the citizens know exactly what we're doing on a regular basis. One recommendation I would have is if you could just do a slide a week on social media or to let people know about the same information. And I think that'd be helpful and go a long ways as well. Councilor Crip, were you pushing your button? No, you're good? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, council comment. Councilor comment section. I'll start off with the Zoom and then I'll come here. Anybody on the Zoom have any comments? No? All right. Councilor Griego.
I had one comment. You're right. There was a lot of things going on this past weekend. There was a lot of people in town and stuff. But I wanted to thank the college. They had a car show. They had a variety of stuff for Hispanic Heritage Month. And they had a pretty big turnout there. And, you know, it's just good to see all these people coming in and enjoying our city. And then the art job that you guys did, Heather, for the arts and that is, it's incredible. It just seems to keep growing and growing, which I think that's something that, yeah, you know, we planted the seed and you keep watering it and it keeps growing. So thank you very much.
Council, thank you, Councilor Griego. Councilor Cripps.
Thank you, Mayor. This was probably one of the busiest weekends I've had wearing my counselor hat. I started off at the art reception on Friday night, and that was amazing. I found myself Saturday morning at the Stephanie L. Minor Walk, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank the community for it's now in its 19th year to continue to support that. We had a beautiful turnout, huge turnout. And then from there, I went straight over to the farmer's market and sat with my now new best friend, Eric, and got to know him a little bit, but then got to know the community and got to hear from a few people that came up. And so I think my trial by fire is almost over, but I had a great time. I did see the car show. I walked through the car show briefly, and it was, I thought the summers were busy and then fall started and it's just getting busier. So I'm really enjoying how much the community has to offer. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I too would like to thank all of the city staff and all of the community partners and everyone who participated in all the events like the Art Fest, Society Hall event that they had, the car show, the Stephanie Minor Run Walk, and also we were invited to the President's Press Box at President's Box at Adams State University. I want to thank them for reaching out to us, and they'll probably sent you all invitation as well for the launching and things like that. And the car show was great as well. Then the last thing I'd just like to just say, I want to thank all the city staff and city employees for supporting one of our employees who experienced a loss in her family this past week. It was good seeing the support that showed up for that as well. And thank you all for the meals and support as well, and showing that in the cards, reaching out to our staff, because when one of us are hurting, all of us hurt. So thank you for that. And I encourage everyone to continue to try to support our staff member as best you can. Okay. All right. With no other lights on, no more hands raised, this meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you, everybody.